Robert J. Havighurst defines developmental tasks as one that arises at a certain period in our life, the successful achievement of which leads to happiness and success with later tasks, while failure leads to unhappiness, social disapproval, and difficulty with later tasks. Starting off with our first developmental task, which is the prenatal period, that is also called as from conception to birth. This involves tremendous growth. That means from a single cell to an organism. This is already complete with brain and behavioral capabilities. We also have here the term gestation. It is the development before birth, and it takes place in 3 stages, which are germinal, embryonic, and fetal.
Next is infancy, from birth to 2 years. Infancy is defined as the first year of life after birth. It is a time of extreme dependence on adults. During their first year, they are called as the lap baby, but they will become called as toddler in the second year of their life. On this stage, they are starting to learn psychological activities such as 2 to 3 word utterances, symbolic thoughts, learning to lift their heads, crawl, and started to walk, take solid foods, and social learning.
Early childhood 3 to 5 years. In this stage, children do things depending on themselves and started to spend hours playing with peers. They will also develop their locomotor, non-locomotor, and manipulative skills. This stage is the stage of problematic and troublesome stage because sometimes children ruin things because of their eager in exploring while playing. This is also the toy age because this stage the children wants the toy the most. In terms of education, this stage the children will start going in preschool which will help them to get ready in the future education. Lowenfield also introduced the stages of drawing. First is the scribbling stage where children begins drawing zigzag figure. Next is the free schematic stage where children learn to draw head with basic elements. And the last is the schematic where they learn to draw more elaborative figures.
Next, here we have Mildred Parton's stages of play. First, we have an occupied play. It is when a child is paying attention towards a thing that interests him more than playing. Second is onlooker play, when a child is observing other children talking to them but not participating in playing. Next is solitary play, a stage where a child is playing alone because they haven't developed yet their socialization skills to play with others. Fourth is parallel play, a stage where children are playing but not interested in what other children are playing or doing. Next is associative play, a stage where they are playing but more interested in their playmate, developing their social skills and not really focusing on the toys or activity that they are doing. Lastly is cooperative play, a stage where children developed their social skills where they are playing together as a team.
Middle and late childhood. During this critical period, the child will go through significant cognitive, emotional, and social development. Cognitive development. It refers to mental processes like thinking, memory, and decision-making. Emotional development. It is about identity information by their sense of self which they develop as they explore and their life experiences, and understand that not all emotions should be expressed externally. Social development. In middle childhood, they will experience changes in these 3 areas. First is family. As they enter early adolescence, they realize their need to have more privacy and independence. Second is peer. It appears to be more interested in same-sex groups, but later, around 10 to 13 years old, they will befriend with opposite sex. Third is sexual. As they get older, sexual questions start to arise around changes, and they may show interest in dating and relationships.
Puberty, a sexual maturity of one person. Testosterone, the primary sex hormones for a male. It is a vital part of development of the physical attributes of the male. estrogen, the primary sex hormones of a female. They're responsible for the development of the female reproductive system. Spermacea, the beginning of the development of male sperms in their puberty, when boys starting to reproduce and produce sperm from their body. Menarche, the first menstrual bleeding of a female, the sign that a female has a possibility of fertility.
This is James Marshall's 4 identity statuses. Number 1 is identity foreclosure. This is where an adolescent thinks he already knows himself, but not really. They might just get the traits and attitudes from the people around them, and could be not what they really are. Examples is when an adolescent grew up in a religious family and he's just following the tradition against his will. Next is identity moratorium. In this stage, this is where an adolescent is trying to explore and experiment things because of insecurities, like doing things that they have never done before. Example is when an adolescent is obsessed on a band, but he doesn't have an idea how to play an instrument, and he started to learn to play instrument. Next is identity achiever. In this stage, this is where a person finally achieved what the person really wants and what they really are, when the adolescent figured out their own values and beliefs in life. Example is when a person is really happy on the achievement that he got, like winning on a Dota tournament. And last is number 4, identity diffusion. The stage where an adolescent is failing to figuring out who they are and what they are. They don't know what are their values, beliefs, stands in life. Example, a person cannot decide if he wants to be a musician or a boxer, and he doesn't know if he's good both.
While in early adulthood, from the age 19 to 29 years of age, it is an extremely diverse period of life. It encompasses a wide range of lifestyle choices and responsibilities. It's where people started to live in their own and be separated to their parents to have a new and independent life. In terms of occupations, one maker of adulthood is the attainment of economic independence from parents. When one is successful in their work environment, they feel a sense of personal accomplishment, increased social connection, and financial independence. Another is the social support. Many people develop a sense of social connection to their workplace or by joining organizations, clubs, a church, or other places of worship, or by getting involved in sports or other activities of interest. While in some sides is problem age, and one of emotional tensions whereas one's own personal identity continues to develop after adolescence, facing many obstacles and personal responsibility for their actions. Another, intimate relationship. Forming a warm and stable romantic relationship is finding love and care to someone that will be with them in their whole life. Lastly, children. Having children is another choice many people make during young adulthood. This can be wonderfully rewarding and stressful at the same time, as one works to balance work and other relationship with caring for a child.
And next we have middle adulthood. Middle adulthood is the period of age beyond young adulthood but before the onset of old age, and has been defined as the time between ages 30 and 60 years old. Middle adulthood is also the time where people enter the married life, making new generations and assisting them to become mature and competent individuals. This is also the time where people reach and maintain a career satisfaction. According to Lachman, there are a few primary biological and physical changes in midlife. Number 1 is vision. As we grow older, the lens of the eye gets larger, but the eye loses some of the flexibility required to adjust to visual stimuli. This is known as presbyopia. Middle-aged adults often have trouble seeing up close as a result. Night vision is also affected as the pupil loses some of its ability to open and close to accommodate drastic changes in light. Number 2 is presbycusis. It is the loss of hearing that gradually occurs in most individuals as they grow older. Hearing is a common disorder associated with aging, And number 3 is weight gain, sometimes referred to as the middle age spread or the accumulation of fat in the abdomen. Men tend to gain fat on their upper abdomen and back, while women tend to gain more fat on their waist and upper arms. And lastly, the climacteric. During midlife, men may experience a reduction in their ability to reproduce. Women, however, lose their ability to reproduce once they reach menopause. The main concerns of the middle age are children, health, job security, aging parents, and fear of aging. And next,
late adulthood is the last stage of development and developmental task. It is the stage of life from the age 60s onward. In this stage, physical changes occur. The skin dries and becomes less flexible, hair loss in both men and women, and decreased sensitivity in all sensory modalities, including olfaction, taste, touch, hearing, and vision. It is also the time for adjustment to decreasing health and strength, because the reaction time slows further. Immune system weakens, mobility diminishes, muscle strength and bone diminishes, especially among women, leading to bone density disorders like osteoporosis. Lower functioning within the brain occurs, resulting in problems like decreased intellectual function, harder time remembering, lacks of giving an information, and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Growing older means confronting many psychological, emotional, and social issues that come with entering the last phase of our life, such as increased dependency, loneliness and connection, adjustment to new social roles, retirement, life review, and confronting death. As people approach the end of life, changes occur and special challenges arise.